He called me the P word on the first day of practice, of varsity football practice my sophomore year, out in front of everybody. And I was a freshman that was supposed to be this very good player, and the dude called me the P word, and I was like, oh, that'll never happen again.
Right.
And it never happened again. And it turned, I would have never gotten a football scholarship had he not verbally abused me. And I'm sorry, maybe I'm just some old fool, but it takes iron to sharpen iron, and we want to take all the iron out of football. I don't like it.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm going to say two different things, but one, let me just blanket statement. I'm in support of football getting quote-unquote softer. I'm going to say that. Now, I also had no...
Cuts like a knife.
It hurts you, huh? Hot knife, too. Warm butter. But I also had no problem with either one of these incidents in this altercation. Look, I've been the guy who's been grabbed by the face mask, been the guy who's been cursed out. But I also respected that discipline is like a form of punishment to actually protect you from greater punishments down the line. So I'm getting in your face right now because something worse can come from this if I don't stop you right now and get your full attention. But in terms of football getting too soft, I'll let you talk first, D'Angelo. But in totality, I'm in support. I didn't walk into football tough. I walked out tough, but I did understand while going through that process of 25 years of football, it was some unnecessaries in terms of the toughness aspect and the bravado and machismo. Too much.
I totally think football is becoming too soft. You look at Jimbo there, that's how we were raised playing football. Like, I wasn't always a nice guy. I was a little mean little turd growing up. Right. And in order to play some of as far as letting it off in positive ways, football was that outlet for me. It allowed me to be physical. Even though I was a smaller kid, I still was aggressive. And so, you know, I think we're totally taking football to a point to where it's not football. If me as a kid, if I couldn't hit people the way I thought that I wanted to playing football, as these rules are showing us now, I don't know if I'd have chosen football to keep playing.
But there are so many ways that we see legal hits in the proper targeting areas that are vicious. Like, I mean, you can still knock someone's head off and not knock their head off. Like, there's still a way to send that message.
As a defensive player, especially a secondary player, if I have a receiver, they already know where they're going. I don't know where I'm going. I'm going backwards. The only line of defense that I have to really make this dude fear me is to hit him, right? I want my safety. Back in the day, when you would come across the middle, we told our safeties, knock his head off. When I finally got a safety like Lloyd Malloy when I was in Atlanta, he was knocking heads off. Dudes didn't want to run across the middle no more.
Yeah, but you sound privileged right now, and this is what I used to privilege. You know why? Because I'm going to get, like, Jason, you on my side, but I'm talking about even at the next level. I played in the trenches. And now my entire life up until pro level, I was a running back, kick returner. Then I just kept getting bigger. And they were like, you're only going to make it to the NFL if you play D-line. And then I went to the trenches. And you know this because even in a practice that's abbreviated, shells don't even go out in pads. It was hell to pay even when we were not padded and protected on the O-line and D-line. He's one of those privileged guys that they get to select when they go into the fire. And I don't care what DB you tell me, I don't care what cornerback you tell me, it's not the same game as when you're down there every single play. That other dude's 300-plus pounds, and that's what you have to do 70, 80 times.
Marcellus, though, there's a lot of players that you wouldn't even know their names. If you talk about Hall of Famers and great players that you would even, if they tried to play in today's NFL, they wouldn't be able to play.
You don't think they could learn the new way?
No, I don't think they could play. Part of Ronnie Lott's game was to knock people's heads off. Part of Steve Atwater and these big-time safeties that played the game the hard way, played the game the right way at the time, John Lynch. These guys would never have been successful in the National Football League because their game wasn't built on speed. Their game wasn't built on interceptions. Their game was built on being physical and physically imposing their will on their opponents. Even the great Sean Taylor, he would not have been, I mean, he probably could have adjusted because Sean was able to do a lot of different things. But part of the reason Randy Moss hated playing Sean Taylor is because he always made it personal with Randy because he knew Randy was the best. I'm going to hit this dude.
D'Angelo, are you frat? Are you in a Greek fraternity?
No, I'm not.
Okay,
no.
Neither you must. Okay. This is what I've always analogized football to. It's the college football. It's the hardest 4 or 5 years of pledging that you'll go through. And it's pledging, I think now they got it in the Greek fraternities down to about 4 weeks. It used to be 12, 16 weeks, whatever. College football was a 4 or 5 year pledge. It wasn't for everybody.
No.
A lot of guys dropped line because they could. After 4 years, I dropped line. I could have played a fifth, but I dropped line. Like, I've had enough.
Yeah.
It's not for everybody. But that 4 years that I did survive is one of the reasons why I've been successful afterwards. There's virtually nothing that could happen to me in this profession that would ever make. You think I'm gonna quit?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
After what I know, what I've been tested so many different ways through football. There's nothing that could happen out here in this real world that could ever touch me, and I think we're losing that. I mean, I went to Ball State's practice this year, and I was so out of the loop. I was like, hold on, they don't practice two-a-days during the summer? No two-a-days?
It's
NFL different.
Now.
you can't go
all
back to
types of things going on. It's too wet outside. Oh, it's too hot outside. It's this, it's that. It's definitely creating a different culture. You talked about just being able to take on the world when you left. We always say that this generation is soft. It's because they are.
Oh, man,
it's
stop.
Because
let's not overgeneralize it.
It's the truth, Marcel.
You guys watch football. I was at a football game yesterday. And if you're going to tell me that that's a soft product, what we're seeing out there, you're comparing it to maybe the barbaric era, which even then, I know a coach in private, per coach that I played for, with the 10-inch ACL scar who could barely walk, sits there not on the podium, not when he's telling everyone, tough talking, go football. When he's sitting there saying for real, he's like, that was unnecessary. We didn't have to go through those processes to get stuff.
Then.
You talked about then and all the players of that era.
I'm just talking from 2000 to where we are now. I'm not even talking about. I'm just saying some of the players even further back than that. If you tried to put them up in today's NFL and ask them to abide by the rules and can't hit a guy here and do that, and I don't know if they would be successful. Yeah.
Let me. Here's my problem, Marcellus. And look, I get safety. I do want everybody to be safe, and I get
You
it.
sure?
Yes, I do,
Okay.
but to some degree.
I knew it.
A life without risk is a life worth not living. I wouldn't want to live a life that took no risk. But when I see Juju Smith-Schuster flopping around like on a soccer field, when I see Big Ben get tapped in the head and fall to the ground and fake an injury and things like that, it repulses me. That's not football. That's soccer. And there's a reason why I grew up a football fan, and it's taken me time to enjoy soccer, and I'll never have the passion for it because the risks just aren't that great. The higher the risk, the higher the reward. We're taking all of the risk out, and now these players understand, like, the culture's changing. And so let me go out here and fake an injury. Let me go flop around like they do in soccer, like we've seen in basketball.
The game, C.J. Beathard got knocked out the game, came back, but got knocked out legally. And guess what? He took a risk. And the risks are still there. People are still getting knocked out. People are still having season-ending injuries. What's crazy is there's a manipulation of the rules that's happening, and it went from soccer to basketball. And now guys,
it's in football.
And now it's in football. And people are saying you're softer. Some would say you're smarter because you're doing gamesmanship. I'm sure behind closed doors, you're sitting there saying now. There was a day. Do you remember the day when they told every running back, if you don't run out, if you don't get that extra yard, if you run out of bounds, you soft. I remember hearing that as a running back.
Franco Harris.
Yeah, and I was like,
Franco Harris.
what?
He loved this league.
Yeah. I'm about to die for one more yard, and then Jimmy G gets caught up in y'all talk. Oh, I'm going to get that extra yard.
And
look what
with
happened
being soft. Run out of bounds. You're a quarterback. I'm cool with that.
And even running backs went through the same kind of mental dynamic in the battle. To me, this is where the game's going. Protect your assets. Quarterbacks on down. D'Angelo, you still would have been a good player.
This is the thing, though, man. They're not necessarily trying to protect their assets. They're trying to protect themselves. The NFL, this is just what the NFL is trying to do so that they aren't 15, 20 years down the road paying out more lawsuits, more CTE studies, more bodily harm issues and things like that. This has nothing to do with...
They're catering to people that don't like football.
That's all they're doing.
Y'all
They
acting
never
like
liked football.
I don't know the player. You rather play in your era than an era that you calling soft right now. You couldn't make the adjustment to play right now.
Well, you know what, Marcel? I'm a DB and a corner. So for me, when I played my last 2 years at safety, it wasn't that hard for me because I'm not a killer banger that's coming down trying to knock people's heads off. I was trying to get the ball. So for me, my game was made to do. I mean, you know, to play physical, to play kind of soft. But I'm just looking at the totality of everyone else playing the game, and you know, especially my safeties.
We got to go. D'Angelo, you were much smarter than Marcellus, and so was I. Coming up, did Earl Thomas actually have a call to flip his team to Bird yesterday? Tony Gonzalez and D'Angelo Hall are back to tell us what they think.